This isn't like a Blaze double feature. I don't know why this shrunk down or whatever. Like, hold on, right there you go. This is the Blaze. I don't know if he's having Jimmy on and Jimmy's responding. I don't know what the fuck this is. It's just, but it's the one thing I can say about this Jimmy clip is that it's on somebody else's show, so therefore it's mercifully short.
I got my MMR vaccine the other day. I just got it again. I just, why not? I try to vaccinate myself as much as possible. Okay, Jimmy,
Oh, they started with anti-vax jokes. What's this fucker's name? This is the guy who's just like fucking gross. Alex Stein, right?
Ask you this because I know you're a busy man. We'll get to it quick. I'm going viral.
No, he isn't. What do you mean busy? He's in his garage. He's a millionaire. He's not busy. He just does what he does, and he's right there.
Brett Bayar, however you say his name at Fox News, they played a clip because I had.
Why is it funny that he can't pronounce Brett Bayar's name? Why is that? Because of the spelling of his name? It's Jimmy's enjoying it.
Vivek on, and Vivek said that he didn't believe the 9/11 Commission report, so now everywhere is calling him a 9/11 truther. So let's play that clip on.
And since both of you are 9/11 truthers, I
want to get Jimmy's reaction.
Yes, good. It's good programming so far. I think the freeze frame is excellent for both of you.
So we need a partner. Okay, rapid fire question: was the moon landing real or fake, Vivek?
Was the what, moon landing?
Real or fake?
I have no evidence to suggest it was fake, so I'm gonna assume it was real.
Okay, 9/11 inside job or exactly how the government tells us?
I don't believe the government has told us the truth. Again, I'm driven by evidence and data. What I've seen in the last several years is we have to be skeptical of what the government does tell us. I haven't seen evidence to the contrary, but do I believe everything the government told us about it? Absolutely not.
Last two questions.
The 9/11 Commission? Absolutely not.
Yeah, 9/11 Commission lied. Last two questions. So, Jimmy, that was
There's a big difference between his sort of political answer, which he doesn't believe everything that the government tells us, and he doesn't believe everything in the 9/11 Commission, and him just saying 9/11 lie. But that's right. And by the way, Vivek Ramaswamy dead in the water. He just basically there's an attempt on the right to elevate the conspiratorial aspects of RFK to make to sort of chew up some Democratic voters, and at the same time do the exact same thing to Republicans so that they won't be able to compete with Trump.
Pretty, I think middle of the road, fair answer, just calling out the 9/11 Commission report. So before I play the Fox News clip, what did you think about that?
Boy, that sounds crazy. Who would think that the government lies, especially about important things? That guy's nuts.
I believe this is sarcasm, which is what idiots have instead of a sense of humor.
I always thought aliens did 9/11. Isn't that what the government said? Isn't that what they're saying now? What is the government saying now? I'm pretty sure aliens did it. And if you disagree with that, you're a white supremacist, I'm pretty sure. Just like if you thought that the
Kurt quit, didn't he? Jimmy doesn't have Kurt's jokes anymore. I mean, they weren't that great, but they were at least formatted like jokes.
Coronavirus came from a lab in Wuhan. That's racist, right? Isn't that what this is? This is all about white supremacy, I'm pretty sure.
Please stop Asian hate. Do never bring up the Wuhan lab ever again, Jimmy. We have to stop all Asian hate.
Nope. Kurt's there in the background.
So, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm with you. That's racist.
Thank you. We love it. Even though random Asian people get beat up on the street all the time, we need to stop that whatever we can. We love the Chinese. We love Xi Jinping, whatever his name is. We love the Chinese Communist Party. Thank you so much for all your electronics. But now, because of that I think
they're perfect for each other. I don't. Kurt, you're fired. Alex Stein is the perfect joke writer for Jimmy. The quality will be maintained at the level it's been at forever.
Normal answer, 9/11 Commission report, 28 pages redacted. There's a lot of missing information when it comes to the structural integrity of Building 7.
And you know what I love about the 9/11 Commission is that George Bush wouldn't testify to the 9/11 Commission unless he did it in secret, and Dick Cheney had to be next to him. I don't think there's anything to see there.
No, and they had to do it in private. Okay, so now let's.
Yeah, but what's really interesting, if you want to bring that up, is that Jimmy doesn't think there's any difference between Trump, Obama, Bush, Biden, Clinton, anybody. And by the way, and Sanders and the squad. Just for the record, That I think is the detail that's missing from this conversation.
Play this clip of Brett Bayar getting mad at Vivek.
I want to ask you about something you said in an interview over the past day or so. Take a listen.
I don't believe the government has told us the truth. Again, I'm driven by evidence and data. What I've seen in the last several years is we have to be skeptical of what the government does tell us. I haven't seen evidence to the contrary, but do I believe everything the government told us about it? Absolutely not.
To be fair, you were asked if 9/11 was an inside job, and you tweeted out, "Do I believe our government has been completely forthright about 9/11? No, Al-Qaeda clearly planned and executed the attacks, but we have never fully addressed who knew."
And that, by the way, that upsets Jimmy and Alex Stein.
What in the Saudi government about it? We can handle the truth. Do you believe 9/11 was an inside job?
I don't,
Okay.
but I do believe
you don't know
the
about the
government needs
Saudis'
to be-
role.
Exactly right.
As the
And I don't.
Okay, so this is his way of backing out on it, and this is gonna look at the faces of Alex Stein and Jimmy Dore right now. You can't attack the Saudis.
I don't think we've ever gotten straight answers about that.
As Republicans are criticizing the Biden administration for their policy towards Saudi Arabia, and you're going to talk about foreign policy, do you think it's the right thing to go down this kind of asking questions about this on a foreign policy perspective, diplomacy-wise, in this venue?
So, Brett, I come at it from the perspective.
I love watching television with these two dickheads. I don't care what did these two idiots say, because look, they're watching this whole fucking clip. There you go. All right, now so whatever. Okay.
Jimmy, why does that go viral, me asking a politician if 9/11 was exactly how the government told us?
That's not because that's not what you said or he said. Don't lie about what you said when we just watched it.
Because we live in we're a country of adult children of alcoholics. And
Projecting. Only left-leaning person brave enough to come on this show. Jimmy Dore's not left-leaning. In fact, he's a Trump voter.
they don't get mad at the people that are lying to you. They get mad at the people.
Wait, Jimmy Dore is hoping to get Harry Sisson next? Why does Jimmy want Harry? I don't know.
People who are pointing out that someone's lying to you. And that's exactly what that is. And we live in a cancel culture, and they're always trying to get, it's always about, it's like we live in a giant cult, right? Well,
no, you do. He does. The rest of us are able to weigh what we hear and decide for ourselves about a lot of things. But also when a politician is going to run the country, how they feel about something can be dissected more so than the average citizen, one would think.
Definitely, we do. And that's what that is. That's trying to, so if you go out of the orthodoxy, you're out of the cult. And now we.
I'm sorry. Tell me how Bernie and the squad are worse than Trump and Hillary and whatever now. Talk to me about Bernie. So talk to me about how if you're in a cult, if you go outside the lines, if you color outside the lines, or you don't behave in a certain orthodoxy, in line with a certain orthodoxy, that you're no longer in the group anymore. And then use AOC or Bernie Sanders as an example. I'm just curious.
Don't have to listen to him anymore, and we don't have to talk about him because he dared to question the things you're not supposed to question. Hey, you're supposed to question everything. That whole, just like you're not supposed to trust science, you don't trust the government, you question science. That's how science works. You question the government.
No. You can question science. That's fine. It's assertions that are the problem, especially ignorant, anti-science assertions. And here's a good example. We know that Jimmy is, he loves him some Joe Rogan, right? Let's see. And Joe Rogan, let's see if I can present this and start this viewer, whatever. Oh, I don't want that. Hold on. Get out of here. Get out of here. I either present, and then put a present view, and then we go here, and we take this over here, and go full screen. Okay, so, whoops, get out of here. Stop. Jimmy loves some Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan posted this article saying that Risk of all-cause and cardiac-related mortality after vaccination against COVID-19, a meta-analysis of self-controlled case series studies. And he was saying that there is a rise. He was making the case that scientifically it is proven that there is a rise in cardiac-related deaths after COVID vaccination. Period. Okay. First of all, we'll look into this a little bit because it's a lot of fun. But I think the easiest thing is to just jump straight to this, where it says, this study went on to show that the risk of mortality was significantly higher in unvaccinated residents than those who received vaccines. What was that again? This study went on to show that the risk of mortality was significantly higher in unvaccinated residents than those who received vaccines. Among 7 million people in the United States, they reported an incidence of 320 cases 1 to 98 days after approximately 7 million vaccine doses. 320 out of 7 million. Now, they're like, yeah, but that's, fucking young, it leans male and young male and that kind of stuff. Okay, first of all, young males who have cardiac problems occur all the time, but a lot of times they drop dead for other reasons, and it's never really tied to whatever happened to them because you don't go to the doctor that often. Girls, especially teenage girls, see doctors a lot more often because of their girl parts in general than boys do, unless you injure yourself, right? And so tracking it, once we had a pandemic, everybody was going to the doctor more often. So they were tracking what caused somebody's death specifically. And we'll get to that in a second. But this is my favorite part. The above 60 age group may lead to confounding in cardiac-related mortality. More importantly, when the authors removed this group, this is people above the age of 60, removed this group from the analysis, the pooled risk incidence reported no significant association between mortality and COVID-19 post-vaccination. Reported no significant association between mortality and COVID-19 post-vaccination. If you remove people above the age of 60, by the way, another group of human beings, men above the age of 60, who haven't been to the doctor in forever, and when they have a cardiac arrest, now anybody who has a cardiac arrest within 98 days of having recently seen a doctor, which includes vaccination for most people, especially if you have a pre-existing condition, you fall into this category no matter what the reasoning was for your cardiac arrest. So it's the fact that you went to the doctor that puts you in this category, this 98 days, and that they were able to relate it, that you had the vaccine in this period of time, but you hadn't seen anybody else. Everybody else who had them in the same category, which was a much bigger number, by the way, if you died from a cardiac arrest, you were just somebody who died from a cardiac arrest. They just didn't relate it to vaccination because it didn't happen within 98 days of it. Period. And still, we're talking about 320 cases out of 7 million. This is a ginormous meta-study. But we continue. These findings of self-controlled case series studies, which may invite bias and therefore may be considered a lower level of evidence, say that more data will be needed to differentiate precisely which vaccine types and regimens this risk is most related to. So they didn't even differentiate between which vaccines. But that's how this video opened. This is like, you got to be able to question the question. Nobody ever fucking stops you from questioning this shit. Question it all you want. It's the assertions that I have a problem with. It was also the assertions that got you kicked off social media. You didn't get kicked off for one. Like, I don't know if they're safe. Are they safe? Does everybody feel like they're safe? I feel like, you guys, like, how do you feel about it? I have this issue and I don't really have a doctor to talk to. And nobody got kicked off of fucking social media for doing that, for just asking questions. You got kicked off for going, oh yeah, if I could give you scales and it's got a fucking chip in it that will, they're trying to put a microchip inside you. That's what you got kicked off for. Nobody ever, like, this whole, like, I was just asking questions, this Tucker defense.
Democracy is not run on trust. The reason why you have transparency.
What What the fuck does that mean?
And democracy is because it's run on mistrust. You don't trust anyone. And that's why you're supposed to have transparency. And that's why you're not supposed to have a secret testimony from the president.
Well, you do realize that anything you see, everyone else sees. And if you ever have a situation that may involve national security and you go, we actually have an enemy who's trying to figure out what we know about them and when we know it. And so if I talk about this, frankly, I would reveal some of those details and our enemies would know about it. Then yes, you would indeed hide some of that stuff. And as a citizen of a democracy, you would go, well, I treasure democracy. So I don't think democracy is just walking around bent over, grabbing your ankles with your pants down.
They're doing that. So that's what this is about. So that's how democracy works. It doesn't work on trust. It works on suspicion and mistrust. And that's why you're supposed to have transparency.
Right. And that's why you're allowed to do your show. And nobody has attacked you physically for it. You haven't been locked up for it. And now all I ask is that you just do your show from Russia for a week. I'm sure you can get a visa. I guarantee it. They'll roll out the red carpet. It'll be you and Tara Reid and the foreign minister from Austria.
Government. And that's why they're trying to do that. Any way they can cancel anybody who's got a critique of the establishment, that's what that is. That's character assassination. That's cult-like thinking. And that's what I've been living through for, I don't know, the last at least 5, 6, 7, probably ever since Trump got elected.
Well, I mean, then explain your attacks on Bernie Sanders. Because insofar as I can see, Bernie Sanders still believes what he believes and still is fighting for what he wants to have happen, but he's dealing with the reality of what votes he can get and what programs and what funding he can actually find on a realistic level, and he's dealing with it like a fucking adult. But somehow you act like he betrayed you because he was supposed to give you a ride to Comic-Con.
It's been cult thinking, and that's when I got out of the Democratic Party for sure, because that is one giant.
You didn't get out of the Democratic Party. First of all, this asshole was never in the Democratic Party. Fuck off. Secondly, he's not out of the Democratic Party. He is in the Trump crowd. He's in MAGA now.
And cult and COVID proved that you're not allowed to ask questions.
Nope. Raise your hand in the chat room if you were able to ask questions all during COVID. Anybody think that he doesn't know the difference between asserting something ignorantly and asking a question? Maybe not. Maybe he doesn't know the difference. Because I would argue that is his entire fucking show. Is that he's like, I'm just asking questions when he's literally asserting bullshit.
Of your authority, and who you're not allowed to question is who rules over you. And we are ruled by big pharma corporate money.
Which ones? What big pharma corporate? We're ruled by big pharma corporate money. How? Did they control the military industrial complex, or is that a whole different deal? Or do our soldiers now shoot like aspirin or Tylenol out of their guns? How does that work? Does Pfizer own all the real estate in the country like BlackRock does? Or does BlackRock control everything because they have a scary name like BlackRock? Or are they just the representatives for the giant pension funds, which are there to make sure that workers have supplements to Social Security and something to keep them above water in their dotage? If I'm not mistaken, guys, I asked a bunch of questions just then. Mm-hmm.
I couldn't have said that any better. No.
Yeah, but that's just because you're both equally dumb.
We're applauding you. Applause.
I've got a boner right now.
Shut up, Jimmy. Do not get sexual with Jimmy Dore. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. This is basically Alex Stein is like the poor man's unfunny, slightly more angry, less fit Steven Crowder, who can't grow a beard apparently. I think that's the gig. Anyway, so that's Dore defending the idea that 9/11 truthers are just asking questions. That's the thing in this part, and that if somebody's running for president, the standard for, their flights of fancy about what they believe or what they they think is a legit point of conversation or question is the same as rando dickhead on the internet. And it ain't. Because I think part of it is simply that your seriousness about how a ship runs, the narrowness of the conversation about what you're allowed to float as an idea about how to pilot a ship narrows to the point of your responsibility, all the way up to captain. If you're a deckhand, you can fuck around a lot more than, say, the ship's spokesperson, the person who makes the announcements or whatever. And they can make less statements than the captain can. The captain can't go, hey, I think I'm going to turn this fucker upside down. I mean, why does a ship have to be pointy side down? Like, that's not what you want to hear from the captain, because you want him to stay within a serious lane in that regard. The rest of us can stand on the place shuffleboard and go, wonder why a ship can't just float upside down, like flat part. Wouldn't the flat part float better? I don't understand water displays. Let's give it a try. I'm kidding. Anyways, was that a 7 or a 9? So, anyways, by the way, like, subscribe, give a thumbs up. It's House Sparks Mega Worldwide. We deal with these assholes so you don't have to.